Today's guest, Sheena Easton, will be appearing on June the 1st, 2024 at the Avalon Theatre at Fallsview Casino. Don't miss the opportunity to see this legendary star live in concert. You can purchase tickets for this event by going to fallsviewcasinoresort.com or ticketmaster.ca.
Hello, everyone. I'm Harvey Brownstone, and today's special guest is an iconic and beloved multi-gold and platinum singer, recording artist, and actress who's been dazzling the world for over 4 decades, selling over 20 million records worldwide, winning 2 Grammy Awards, a Billboard Music Award, 4 more Grammy nominations, and an American Music Award nomination. She was the first and still the only artist in Billboard history to have a top 5 hit on all 5 major Billboard charts: pop, adult contemporary, country, R&B and dance. She's recorded 15 studio albums containing 55 hit singles, and she's also been featured in 14 hit soundtrack albums. She's brought us a string of mega hits, including Morning Train, We've Got Tonight, For Your Eyes Only, You Could Have Been With Me, Modern Girl, Telephone, Strut, Almost Over You, The Lover in Me, and dozens more. She's recorded hit single duets with Prince, Kenny Rogers, Luis Miguel, Barry Manilow, and she's worked with everyone from David Foster and L.A. Reid to Babyface and Nile Rodgers. Our guest is also a highly accomplished actress, having appeared in Body Bags, Highlander, Briscoe County, Outer Limits, Young Blades, and many more TV shows and movies. And yes, she appeared in 5 episodes of Miami Vice, and she played Caitlin Davies, who ended up marrying Sonny Crockett, played by Don Johnson. And if all of that weren't enough, our guest has starred on Broadway in Man of La Mancha and Grease, and in London's West End, she starred in 42nd Street. Over the years, our guest has had numerous hugely successful Las Vegas residencies, and she was recently inducted into the Las Vegas Hall of Fame. She is currently on a concert tour, performing for sold-out audiences throughout the world. She's taken time out from her very busy touring schedule to speak with us today. I am thrilled to welcome the phenomenal Sheena Easton to our show. Sheena, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my goodness, my head's exploding with that intro. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you.
Well, it's a thrill to have you here. I want to start by asking you, is it true that your decision to pursue a singing career was ignited by hearing Barbra Streisand sing The Way We Were?
I think that I've definitely been quoted as having said that. I think the context of that is I always wanted to be a singer. And when I heard her sing that, I was about 15, I think, and it was the movie theater. Maybe I was a little bit older than that, just a hair. But that's when I finally got the confidence and I decided I want to do that. I want to make other people kind of get the chills, or like just want to hear a song again. So I thought, oh, you know what's the chances? I didn't think it would actually happen, but I thought, let's give it a go. And that's when I got the confidence to really work hard and pursue it. I decided that pretty soon I would audition for my first gig and went on from there.
Well, you certainly managed to achieve that goal of making us want to hear your voice over and over again. You had a rather unusual rise to stardom because you were part of a TV reality series in the UK called Big Time. And I understand that you were told by Lulu's manager, Marian Massey, that you had the potential to be a television star, but not a pop singer because you lacked what she called rugged individuality. What was your reaction to that?
I don't remember. I think I didn't let it faze me because I knew that I would get a lot of people telling me, yeah, you've got no talent, you can't sing, you just know it's going to happen. Not everyone's going to like you. I don't like everyone that I hear. I don't care how successful they are. Some people just don't appeal to me. And I knew that part of the show was that I was there to have her kind of critique me and give me advice. So I was kind of expecting it might not go so great, and it didn't.
Well, it certainly ended up going great. And I'm so glad that you had the resilience as a young artist, as a young woman in the UK to pursue that dream. You knew that you had a voice. Was it important for you as a young recording artist from Scotland to break into the American music scene?
Well, first of all, I think that the key word there was young. When you're young, you're brave. You know, when you're young, you dream and you kind of think that you've got a chance for your dreams to come true. We don't really get jaded until we're older, and I don't think we get as scared until we get older. When we get older, we start to lose our self-confidence maybe because we know that there's a lot to lose. When you're young, you just go for it, right? So I when I first started, I really didn't have an idea of I wanted to bring this to the States. I just wanted to work. I wanted to be on stage working, singing live, and I wanted to record. And it was just, I was lucky that my first singles and first album took off and it was successful all over the world. So right from the very beginning, I had an international career. So I was traveling constantly.
You sure were. Now we're here in Canada. You came from the UK. You have a huge worldwide audience. But I know that a lot of Canadian stars felt that they were never really appreciated by the audience back home in Canada. And certainly I remember interviews by Ingrid Bergman and Greta Garbo both saying that they never felt appreciated by the audience in Sweden. I wonder whether the Scottish audience really gets how special you are and how popular you are everywhere else.
Well, I haven't performed back in Scotland for a long time, but you mentioned in the intro, I was just back in the West End in London doing 42nd Street for the entirety of 2017. That wasn't that long ago. And I had tons of people coming from all over and lots of people from Scotland coming down on the train to London to see the show. So I felt like I was welcomed back home to work. The people were very kind to me, and that meant a lot to me.
As it should, and as they should. Now, of course, your song For Your Eyes Only was the theme song from the James Bond movie and was nominated for both an Oscar and a Golden Globe. You are the only singer of a James Bond theme song to actually appear in the movie, which is quite a distinction. Who decided that you should be in the film?
That was Maurice Binder, who designs those incredible opening titles from back in the day. And when we had our first meeting at the studios talking about the song, he was there. And we got a phone call about a few days later, and he said, I want to film you. I want to film you and put you into the opening. So technically, I wasn't really in the movie. I mean, I wasn't in the action of that movie. I wasn't a character. I was just, this giant head at the start singing the song. But I'll take it, I'm like, yep, I was a Bond girl for about 30 seconds.
We loved it. All of your fans were thrilled. And a lot of people may not know that you were one of the first artists to record the song Wind Beneath My Wings, even before Bette Midler. It was on your Madness, Money, and Music album, which I love. Was the song ever released as a single?
I think it might have been. I can't remember, but it possibly was back in Europe. I'm not sure. I think in Japan. But let's face it, Bette killed it. She did, in my opinion, the definitive version of that. And sometimes a song just finds a singer, and that song found its home with Bette.
I want to take you back, Sheena, to November 8th, 1982, when you performed in the Royal Variety performance in front of the Queen Mother. The song you chose to sing was Maybe This Time, which I found so interesting, your choice of song. What inspired you to choose that song?
There was always a theme for the show, and the theme for that show was show tunes, Broadway kind of thing. And I loved that song, and I just loved the drama of it. And I thought, you know what? I don't have to come up here and sing something off the album. It was one of the rare times that you get to perform on television and they don't want you to just knock out the hit that everyone has heard you sing a million times. And I've always loved show tunes. I went to the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. So I was like, yeah, here's my chance to do this. And it's a beautiful song. And I had a great arrangement and an amazing orchestra to sing it with. So that was fun to do that.
I think it was really great for your fans, including me, who weren't aware of your love of show tunes. And we got to see you step out of the box that we all knew you as the pop star And it was a very special moment. And I'm so glad I got to tell you.
Oh, thanks. I got in trouble though doing that. Did you hear about that? I
No.
got in, I got in trouble because I was wearing a sassy little outfit with like long black leather gloves. And apparently that was not the thing to wear when you were meeting the royal family. And back then that kind of thing counted. So I got told off by some people in the media that I wasn't appropriately dressed. So there you go.
Well, I thought you looked fabulous, and shame on them for not telling you in advance. If there are rules like that, they should have told you in advance. So screw them.
eh, you know.
You've recorded some amazing duets, Sheena. You won a Grammy Award in 1985 for your duet with Luis Miguel, Me Gustas Tal Como Eres. Where did you learn such beautiful Spanish?
Well, I still don't speak Spanish. I was asked by the Spanish division of the record company if I wanted to record an album in Spanish because I'd put it out there since I'd done so much international travel. I said, hey, I would love to record in different languages. Nobody took me up in it. Nobody said, hey, come and record in Swedish. But I was asked to do something in Spanish. And I was like, okay. So what I did is I studied all the lyrics because the lyrics weren't translated word for word. They wrote new lyrics to the melodies of the hits in the same kind of vein as the originals. So I had these beautiful lyrics to interpret, and I worked with someone to work on my dialect and how to pronounce so it wasn't too terrible. So I knew what I was singing about. So I could tell you what all the songs were about, but I couldn't carry on a great conversation with you in Spanish.
But you did the job. You recorded You Got the Look and The Arms of Orion with Prince. You appeared in his concert film Sign of the Times. What was it like working with him?
Uh, he was a lovely man, a great, beautiful soul, an amazing talent. I mean, everyone said it. It doesn't take me to say it. He was one of those unique people that comes along, once in a generation. And so for me, that was definitely one of the greatest things to be able to work with them, but just to hang out with them because, he has this mystery and he's very enigmatic and dramatic. But when you're just hanging with him, he's funny. He was funny and he made me laugh and he teased me. And, he loved to make me just like make mistakes in the studio so he could poke fun at me. And I love that. I love that with the guys. So he was just a beautiful person.
Well, speaking of Prince, I remember in 1984, there were some radio stations that refused to play your song Sugar Walls because they thought the lyrics, which were written by Prince, were inappropriate. But the song became a huge hit anyway. It went to #1 on the Billboard Dance chart. That must have been so gratifying.
The so-called ban on that song was part of a whole list of songs that were on a list of inappropriate things for kids to listen to. And unfortunately, for the people that were trying to, ban all of this music, it came out after all of us had our hits with the music. But the honest truth is, I was asked about it a lot at the time, and I had no problem with that. I have no problem with parents saying, I don't think this song is appropriate for kids. I'm fine with that. I'm a mom. I raised my kids, and there was stuff I didn't want them to listen to. So I was okay. If parents thought this isn't good for their kids, that's great. Just so long as you don't take music or art of any kind away from adults, that should be their choice to participate in whatever the experience is. But a parent, I'm all for it. You police your kids. That's your job.
Well, I just thought it was a little bit ironic because you were always considered quite wholesome. We never heard about you having a drinking or a drug problem. You've always been a consummate professional. Everyone knows that you deliver your performances with your head totally on your shoulders. And yet here you were being criticized for indecent lyrics. Only
Well,
to
it is kind of naughty if you look at it in one way, right? I mean, that's the great thing about music and lyrics. You can interpret it in so many different ways, and there's a way to look at it that's kind of naughty. So maybe that's something that parents didn't want their kids to partake of. But I was cool with that.
And of course, I have to ask you about working with the wonderful Kenny Rogers on the song We've Got Tonight. Were you surprised, Sheena, that your voices blended so perfectly?
It was interesting. It was a nice pairing. I actually didn't get to, when I worked with Prince, we worked together. We literally sang in the studio at the same time. But working with Kenny, he had put his part down and then they brought me in and said, we want you to sing to this. So I kind of had that. I could listen to it, I could phrase with him, I could kind of breathe with what I was hearing, on tape. But you never know. You never know if other people are going to listen to it and think it's a good match. But it got a good reaction, and it was always a fun thing to perform with him because we got to perform it live several times, and we got to do it on TV specials and different things like that. And it was just great. What a lovely man, a true gentleman, and one of the great talents of not only country, but pop. He was an amazing guy.
Oh, he sure was. And that song is such a classic. Is there anyone you haven't sung a duet with that you would like to?
Oh my goodness, don't get me started. There's tons of people that I listen to and I go, oh, that's a great voice. I mean, Luther is gone now, Luther Vandross, but I wish we had gotten to record something together. That would have been wonderful to do. But I haven't recorded in a long time. I get asked, will you ever record again? And I say, I never say never. If someone comes to me with a project or another artist who wants me to do a duet or a producer who has an idea for something, I'm open to it. I'm not pursuing it though. It's not my main thing. At this point in my life, I love the balance in my life and I love going out and performing live. That's my main thing. It has been for a few years. I get to be with my family and I get to go out every other weekend or, sometimes, for a couple of weeks at a time, but I have a lot of great time at home and I get to work and have fun with the fans. And that's what's important to me.
Well, I have a few ideas for duets. I'd like to see you sing with John Legend
Oh, wow, what a
and
voice.
Michael Bublé.
Oh, yes.
And a few years ago, I got to see you in concert. You did a whole bunch of concert dates with my dear friend Taylor Dane, who recently appeared on our
Yes.
show. Wouldn't it be great if you recorded a duet with Taylor Dane?
It would be. She's a great talent. Yeah, Taylor and I have done a bunch of stuff together. We get every now and then we get invited to do shows, and we're like, yes, because yeah, I think we both respect each other, and I agree with you. She is a powerhouse. She is electric on stage. So yeah, that would be a fun duet too.
Yeah, we're going to make that happen. Now, you appeared on Broadway as Aldonza in Man of La Mancha opposite the late Raul Julia, who played Don Quixote in his very last stage role. And your show was one of the top 5 box office grossing hits of the year on Broadway, which is nothing to sneeze at, Miss Sheena Easton. That must have been an incredibly powerful experience.
It was. It was amazing. I mean, the whole thing, it was my first experience on Broadway, and the whole thing was a learning experience and getting to learn alongside Raul Julia, who was a consummate stage actor. He was amazing. And he not only was inspiring to watch every night because he always did something new to keep it fresh, but he made us laugh and he always brought a tear to your eye in the tender moments. That was a great experience. That really was. It was a great way to kind of start that journey on stage.
Well, I wasn't lucky enough to get a ticket to see you in that show, but I did get to see you playing the bad girl Rito in Greece on Broadway. Did you have a lot of fun? You looked like you were having a ball.
Yeah, that was fun. We got in trouble doing that too. I get in trouble a lot sometimes.
In
I'm
a good
just
way.
in a good way. Like sometimes my sense of humor takes over, and when we had the scenes with the pink ladies, and we would be just getting up to all sorts of mischief in the wings and trying to make each other laugh. So one of the best things about that show was the cast, the ensemble. There was just a great bunch of young people, and I think I laughed from start to finish doing that show.
It really showed. It just felt like you were having a party and we all got to be invited. The energy, the atmosphere, it was really a lot of fun. And again, I'm very glad I get to tell you these things.
Oh, thank you.
You've recorded 15 studio albums, and one of my all-time favorite Sheena Easton albums is from 1993 called No Strings, which was critically acclaimed. It's a collection of standards from the Great American Songbook, One of the songs from that album, The Nearness of You, was featured on the soundtrack for the movie Indecent Proposal. What inspired you to make that incredibly beautiful album?
I always wanted to do an album of standards. And so I went to the record company and begged them because they said, no, it's not your genre and no one's going to buy it. And they were right. It wasn't like a huge seller. It was one of those things, I guess, a vanity project. I did it for me. And like the core fans bought it, but it's not one of those albums that was huge, right? And I wanted to approach it to where we went in and we did it essentially live. We went in with the musicians and we did like 3 takes and then we picked the best one. And it wasn't one of those where you go in and you punch in and you do a line here, a line there, and you piece it together and you auto-tune it. It was real. It was in the moment. I wanted to do it like my heroes, like Sinatra and Fitzgerald and all of that. And I had an arc that I wanted to complete in the album. I wanted it to tell a story, looking for love, finding love, losing love, and swearing off love. I wanted it to tell a story from beginning to end. So I got to pick the songs that I wanted. And Patrice Rushen, amazing, talented Patrice Rushen, she did the arrangements, she produced it, she played the piano on it. So it was great getting to work with her. And that was a really wonderful experience doing that. And I got to perform it several times. I go out and I do work with symphonies here and there as a guest vocalist. And I've sung some of the songs with symphonies. And so that's a lot of fun too.
Well, I realized as you spoke that I am a core fan because
Thank
I bought
you.
that album and I loved it. And I want to tell you something. When we had Tony Tennille on the show from The Captain and Tennille, after we finished recording, I was telling her how impressed I was that there were a few pop singers that were choosing to sing the Great American Songbook. And she said to me, the best one of all of us, Sheena Easton.
Oh, that's such a lovely compliment. Oh, coming from her especially. Thank you. That's very sweet.
Another really special and unique album is your acoustic album called Home, released in 1991. That felt like a very personal, intimate album. When I play
Yeah.
that, I always feel like you're sitting in my living room, just singing for just me. Where did the idea come for that album?
It was for my kids. That was my kids. A couple of the songs on there are lullabies that I sang my kids. St. Judy's Comet and Nothing's Gonna Harm You Not While I'm Around. And I wanted to sing a song that reflected where I was at in my life and what was important. So all of the songs center around love and and being home and being content and feeling complete. And it was an album that was especially important for my Japanese fans. They were the ones that really wanted me to do it. And the Japanese company were really behind that. So it was nice. And as you say, it was intimate and it's nice to get to do something where it, I like to even do that in my live shows. I'll take a song and strip it down and make it to where you can focus on the lyrics more than all of the crazy stuff going around a song. And so that's what we did with that. We really wanted to focus on the root of those lyrics.
Do you get, I mean, deep down inside, do you get how really special your voice is and how truly beloved you are by millions of people all over the world? Has it
Oh,
sunk in?
stop. No,
You don't get it. I think you're so humble that do you ever listen to yourself?
no, absolutely not. In fact, whenever I'm putting together new material for the show, like I'm freshening up, and I just did that for this show and put in a couple of songs. And I listened to some of the early things, and I say they're going, oh, because you can't go back and redo something you did years ago. So I hear all the flaws and I hear what I would do differently. So it's never a good idea. It's like watching yourself acting. You're like, oh, look at her posing. Like, no, I like to just be in the moment and do it and be real and then never look at it again. I don't have social media. I don't go on and look at stuff that people put online. I'm like, let everybody do their thing. I'm happy not to. That's not my thing.
Well, I think it's kept you very grounded, very humble. I just hope you know. I mean, I'm going to mention another album that I adore, and that all of us in the gay community fell in love with you again. In the year 2000, you recorded a wonderful album of classic disco hits called Fabulous. And in
That was a fun
2001,
album.
it was a fabulous album, well titled. In 2001, you were invited to Australia to perform some of those songs to close out the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras ceremonies. I hope you know how much that album and your appearance at that show has meant to your gay fans.
Oh, thank you. I gotta say, I've been so blessed. I've been invited to perform at a bunch of different Pride dates, and I have a lot of gay fans, and a lot of them that come after the shows, and we get pictures together. And I've just always felt very supported by the gay community and very at home. So yeah, that was a fun album to do for that. I got to perform it at an incredible nightclub over in London. So yeah, that's a fun one. And those songs, those disco tunes, come on. I mean, I came up in the 70s, so disco was part of my roots.
Well, you just keep proving over and over again that you have incredible versatility, Sheena. You sing pop, you've been in 5 charts on Billboard. You seem to defy every genre. You've done Broadway, and doing Man of La Mancha, those songs are hard. Those songs
Yeah,
are hard. They're very theatrical. They're not pop songs. The
yeah.
one song that is a semi-pop song is The Impossible Dream, and you didn't get to sing it.
Yes, I did. At the end.
Oh, yes, that's right.
At
Of
the
course.
end, after the death scene. And so
Yes.
I'm crying, he dies, and I'm crying, and there's tears coming out and snot coming out my nose. And then I've got to do this operatic version of it. But yeah, the main performance of that was Raoul, and that was incredible every night. I got to do a reprise of it at the end.
That's right. I'm sorry I forgot. But even
That's
that was
okay. That's okay.
very, very theatrical. And
It
yet you
was.
have a voice that I think when you first started out with Morning Train and all the songs that came after, none of us expected that you had that in you. And, I'm glad you're humble, but I hope you realize it's really quite unique. And talk about versatility. In 2004, you and Brian McKnight co hosted a talk show from Las Vegas. Did you like being a talk show host?
That was fun. That was an experiment. There was a company there that wanted to try a pilot because they thought it would be a good idea to do a talk show out of Vegas. Unfortunately, we didn't have any kind of studio facilities here where I live in Vegas. So they had to go down to a showroom, and every night they had to tear down the set, build it up. So it practically wasn't a good idea. I still think it's something that in the future, not with me, but with, other hosts, I think it's something that might happen in Vegas because Vegas has grown so much. And I can really see them having a studio here and maybe doing something like a daytime show here because there's so many celebrities and performers and athletes that come through Vegas that it would be a good idea to have a talk entertainment show from here. But we were a little ahead of the time. And after trying the pilot, we're going, it's a good idea, but it's not practical. But it
But
was
did
fun working with Brian.
but did you like the idea of being a talk show host?
I did and I didn't, to be honest. I enjoyed that experience, but it really showed me how it consumes your life and your world. You have to kind of be prepared to make that your focus. It's not just about the hour that you're on TV because there's so much prep that goes into it. And it would be hard to do that and to go out and perform live. You'd have to kind of pick one or the other. So it's something that, I might be interested in doing for a short period. But when I look at the really successful hosts, they do it for year after year after year, and they're committed to it, and it's their whole world. And that's why they're great at it. I don't think I'd want to do that at this point in my life. Yeah.
Well, performing is still very important to you. And when you're
Yes.
standing on that stage and you see the reaction, you hear the reaction of the crowd, do you let it sink in?
I do. I love the connection with my audience. I've really grown to enjoy that. When I first was out there performing live, I didn't love it. I felt a lot of pressure. I was scared. I wasn't comfortable. It all felt too big. I was used to being the singer in a band in little lounges, little clubs. So these big places, but I got to become comfortable when I realized that I could just be myself. And when I stopped hearing everyone's commentary about what I should be and what I should be doing and sell this, sell that, this is the new thing, let's do this. When I just went, you know what? I'm going to do me. Just going to get out there with great musicians, pick the songs that I want to do my hits and a few tunes that are important to me, and just work with the people in front of me and forget all the rest of it. I wish I'd done that years before, because I have a blast out there and I see so many faces, people that they come from all over, and I see them in all these different places. I go, how did you get here? Like, hello. So I love it. I love performing live. And I gotta say, if you've seen the live show, my musicians are incredible. I have these incredibly talented musicians, and they're funny. Like the funny stories, just getting to the airport at, 5 in the morning for a 7 a.m. flight. We start laughing from, right from the beginning. So I'm very blessed to be traveling with incredible talent and working with them, all the time.
Well, I'm so glad that you have a good time. You were under a lot of pressure in the early years. It was all about being commercial and about selling and being in the charts. And that is a lot of pressure. And somehow you've managed to just be yourself. You're authentic, you're sincere. Your concerts are a real event. People get tickets well in advance. They really look forward to the show. You give everything you've got on that stage. When you look back at those early days in the UK when you were struggling to get a record contract, have you had the career that you envisioned for yourself all those years ago?
Absolutely, and more. And I'll be honest, I didn't have to struggle. I mean, I was lucky that when I was at drama school, I get the chance to do this documentary. I guess nowadays they call it a reality show, but back then reality shows didn't exist. And reality shows now are kind of scripted and set up. There's not a lot of real about reality. This was real. This was 6 different documentaries. And when I did that and it was shown on British television, my music got attention because I had television exposure, and I was lucky that I had hits early on. So I won't claim that I had a long struggle, but I will say that yes, my dreams have come true. I got to do everything that I wanted to do and again and again. So I have no complaints. I have had a great life, and music has brought so much to me and so many wonderful people into my world. So yeah, I really feel blessed.
Do you have any interest in sitting down and writing a memoir?
Not at all.
Why not?
No, I'm private. That's why I don't do social media and document every thought that I have on a daily basis. No, no, I really, really value my privacy. No. Mm-mm.
When they just announced that Michael Bublé is going to be a judge on The Voice next season, I was thinking, Sheena Easton, she's got so much experience and she knows something about reality shows, as you mentioned. Would you ever have an interest in being a judge on American Idol or The Voice or something like America's Got Talent, something like that?
I would think about it. Yeah. I mean, I would have a tough time being harsh. I don't like destroying people's dreams. I don't like selling people, no. So that would be tough for me. If I could be encouraging, like in The Voice, they get to be encouraging and they get to coach people along. And I guess nowadays, more of the talent competitions, they're more focused on that rather than kind of tearing people down. I just don't like to see these beautiful, young, talented people maybe have an off day and then they get their hearts crushed. I couldn't be a part of that. But yeah, supporting them, encouraging talent, I'd like to do that.
It's just that the music business is so brutal and
It
you
is.
survived it. You survived it intact. You survived it beautifully. You're still here singing better than ever. There's a lot of mentoring potential in someone like you because let's face it, you're a legend, you're a veteran.
Oh, stop.
Ms. Sheena Easton, it's been such a pleasure meeting you. I know how incredibly busy you are. I greatly appreciate you granting me this interview. Thank you for taking the time to appear on our show.
And can I tell you, thank you for all the hard work you did, all the studying to get all those facts right. When you were listing off all these facts and figures, I'm going, this guy knows who I am. This is wonderful. So
it was easy. I'm a big fan.
I appreciate it. You're amazing. Anytime you want to do this again, let's do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Our guest has been the iconic and mega talented Sheena Easton. My name is Harvey Brownstone. Thank you to my producer, Steve Silver, my director of programming, Robert Monaghan, my PR directors, Eileen Shapiro and Jimmy Starr, and my entire team at the XPTV1 network in the UK. Thank you all for joining us. See you next time.
Remember, Sheena Easton will be performing at the Avalon Theatre in Fallsview Casino on June the 1st. You can get tickets to see this wonderful performer at fallsviewcasinoresort.com or ticketmaster.ca. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out all the great interviews on the Harvey Brownstone Interviews YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when new videos are posted.